Hello, everybody. We're back. This is our English program now. We just finished our uh, program in the Persian language, and now we are going to go into our English language, and we are going to explain from where we left off last week. As a small recap, if you remember last week, we were talking about the different languages that this Jafar As-Sadiq can speak. And we showed you how his first language was the language of the Nabatean. His second language was the Hebrew of the Israelis, which means he was Nabatean, and the Nabatean and the Israelis lived in the same area. Nabateans were the people of Jordan, and Israel is right next door to Jordan. So this Imam of the Shias spoke these two languages very well. The third language here that we see, it's easier for you, the English viewers, than the Persian viewers, because I have everything in English as well, is Farsi, Persian. This was one of the Eastern languages that Jafar As-Sadiq spoke perfectly, right? He was perfect in it. And you all know what perfect means. I mean, come on, perfect. You can't make a flaw. Abu Basr narrated it from the following. I was with Abu Abdullah. Remember, anytime you see Abu, it means father, right? Father of Abdullah. The Arabs, as a tradition, they don't call each other by their own names. They call themselves by father of whatever child that person has. So Jafar As-Sadiq's son is Abdullah. Therefore, he is father of Abdullah, which makes him Abu Abdullah. So every time his friend Abu Basr wants to call him, he doesn't call him Jafar As-Sadiq, he calls him Abu Abdullah. So every time you see that, you know who we're talking about. When a man from Khurasan, from the province of Khurasan, which is an Iranian province, today the people of Afghanistan under this Taliban regime, they're trying to create a woke nation that never existed, and they want to call it Khurasan. But Khurasan is the name of an actual province of Iran. Afghanistan used to be part of this province of Iran. It was stolen from us by the British and the Russian, who invaded our country, tried to take different parts of Iran. At that time it was Persia, modern name of today, Iran, which was actually an old name. Iran actually means home of the Aryana. Aryana is the same word that later on Europeans tweaked it and changed it from Aryana to Aryan, which is supposed to be the root name for all white people, whether they're from Scandinavian area, the English region, anywhere in Europe. They call themselves white. They mean that they're from the ancestries. Their ancestries will go all the way back to Aryan, which is what Iran was. Okay, so now that you have a little bit of a history about that, Khorasan is a province of Iran. So this gentleman has come from Khorasan to visit Jafar As-Sadiq. Let's see what's going on. Was talking with him in a language that I could not understand. Who could not understand? Abu Basr. The language with which the Imam spoke with the man was Farsi. So they spoke Persian. Why did they write Farsi here? Because the Arabs don't have a P in their language. So when they want to say P, they have to replace it either with a B or an F. So Pepsi would turn into Bipsi, and Parsi, which is Persian, will turn into Farsi, okay? Because they don't have a P in their alphabets in the Arab language. Now we go further. When a number of people came from Khorasan. So in the first story, remember, A man came from Khurasan, and Jafar As-Sadiq was speaking to him in Farsi. Now, in the second story that we are told, when a number of people came from Khurasan, the same Jafar As-Sadiq addressed them saying, if one collects money protecting it, Allah, the God of Islam, okay, will punish him to the same extent. Now, let me explain to you guys what's going on here, because you, the English viewers, right about now, your ears are getting red and your brain is jumbled up, and you're saying to yourself, what? Let me explain to you. I'll give you a very good example of what is happening here. Let's say that a wildfire happened in California, and a bunch of cities got demolished. The fire came and just damaged everything. And a bunch of concerned people in Arizona decided something has to be done. Let's collect some money and let's get this money to the hands of these people who just lost their homes, lost all their belongings, maybe had some deaths in their family due to this fire. Let's give them something. It won't make up for what they lost, but at least we won't leave them with nothing. So these good people in Arizona decided to do something. They started collecting the money, and they protected it. They put it in a bank account. Nobody touched it. They just made sure that it can collect and collect and collect. And then they found a representative of that city who could be trusted. And that person was to distribute this money to all the people that need it. Let's say this scenario happened, okay? The God of Islam is going to punish all of those people that were in Arizona who took part in making sure that this money stays unharmed, untouched, safe. Because in Islam, you're not supposed to do that. As hard as these people in Arizona worked, the God of Islam, this Allah, is going to work just as hard to bring the hammer down on them. The punishment is coming. Why did you do that? You're not allowed to do that. According to Jafar As-Sadiq, God is going to punish you for that. What you should be doing is the exact opposite. What you should be doing is steal that money. Rob these people blind. Take it and run. The more bad you can do, the happier Allah will be. Because He's not happy when you do the right thing. Okay, so this is what Jafar As-Sadiq was teaching the people of Iran. Let's see, what else did he say? They said in Farsi, that they could not understand Arabic. So the Imam repeated the same in Farsi. But hold on a second. 2 sentences above, we were talking about Jafar As-Sadiq speaking in Farsi to these people who are from Persia. The Iranians that came from Khurasan, their mother tongue is Parsi. They're speaking to this so-called Imam, who is the right hand of God on this earth, in Farsi, and the Imam supposedly is speaking to them in Farsi, but all of a sudden they're complaining that they don't understand Arabic. Are we missing something here? How did it change? Did the channel change? Like, you know how you change the channel and you have a Spanish channel and then you got an English channel and then you got a French channel, and then, you know, on the weekends you might find other countries' channels on your TV. Is that what happened? Like the Jafar was talking and then all of a sudden when he was speaking in Farsi, he just changed to Arabic and he didn't notice what was going on? I thought he was the representative of God on earth. He has to know exactly what he's teaching these people. What happened here? So we know this is a fake story. He wasn't talking to these people. This is just some garbage that this clergyman is writing in his book so that he can try to make his imam look bigger than what he truly was. Okay? The next language, number 4. It's very important. Remember, he spoke Nabatean, he spoke Hebrew, he spoke Persian. Now we're going to see what the number 4 language that he speaks is. All languages. Okay, he had a fluency in all languages, okay? All languages, right? Any language you can think of, he knew it very well, fluent. I mean, he could sit there and talk to you as fast as you like, and he knew all the big words. He knew everything. He knew how to use all the words. I mean, your accent, he had the same accent. You know, you name it, he had it. Okay. But hold on, it gets better. Bring your popcorn. Bring your popcorn, people. Bring your popcorn. Today is a funny day. Jafar As-Sadiq was familiar with all languages. Hold on. He just said fluent. Now fluency changed to familiarism. You know what familiarism is? Familiarism is like someone living in America, and then he took few classes when he was a child in school about the language of Spanish. And now when he sees someone from across the border come to the United States, and that person starts talking fast in Spanish, this American guy can understand what the guy coming from across the border is saying, but he just can't talk in Spanish to that guy. But he can understand it. He's familiar with it. He'll pick up the words, especially if it's slow. He'll pick up some of the words. But when it comes to talking, he can't. So right away, we turn from fluency to familiar. I mean, we took a nosedive. And the funny part is, the sentence isn't even over yet. We're in the same sentence. He started off with fluency in all languages. And then the first example that he wants to give you is, he was familiar with all languages. On earth. There's the big catch. On earth. Like as if we got languages that are on earth, they take up space, okay? Like a human being. They have their own homes and their own cars, and they have their own countries. And if you come to the United States, English takes up like 5 meters on every block. That's the home for the language. It's physical. Language all of a sudden turned physical. Like this remote control is physical. I can grab it, right? Language turned physical. It occupies space now. Then we got languages that are in the air. They're not on Earth, they're in the air. Then we got languages that are on different planets. So if you go to Mars, there is languages on Mars. Not language, languages. If you go to the moon, there's languages on the moon. If you go to the sun, there's languages on the sun. You go to Neptune, there's languages on Neptune. You go to Uranus, there's languages on Uranus too. What did you think? They're going to have no languages there? Of course, they have languages there. Now we're going to follow and find out what's going on, because this guy's fluent. Sorry, familiar. I don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows. He's something with languages that are on Earth, okay? We can put something in there, because even the guy who wrote it doesn't know. Is it fluent or is it familiar? We don't know. Aban ibn Taqlib narrated, some guy that lived at the time. I left my house in Medina. Oh, wow. Let's see where the story goes. Heading to Abu Abdullah. He went to Jafar's house. Okay. When I reached the house, I found their peoples. Okay? Peoples, remember, whom I had not seen before. Oh, interesting. Wearing the best clothes. Wow, they had the best clothes I had ever seen. Handsome. They were, I told you these guys are forefathers of LGBTQIA plus. I mean, if Prophet of Islam was alive today, he would be their leading prophet. Though Islam today, under the name of the clergy, they want to say they're against it, but secretly they're all in the closet. And this is not an attack on the LGBT people, but this is just how it is. We got to tell the truth. They were openly at that time into that, right? They embraced it like you wouldn't believe. Today, they want to hide it, so they say they're against it, but they're really into it. Hence, you can see here, they're talking about the handsome. A guy is talking about the handsomeness of some other guys because they're not girls, they're not women. Why? Because women can't come to see the Imam because he's a man. According to the Prophet of Islam, women have to hide behind the veil and they have to have permission from their husbands. And when they come, they have to offer their gold for time with the Prophet. Hence, the Imam is picking up where the Prophet left off because he's the representative of God like that Prophet. Hence, whatever that Prophet's actions were, the Imam is going to have the same actions. Which means these people that came here, they didn't come here as females. They came here as men. That's why he's using the word handsome. This guy, Aban, is gay, coming to visit his gay Imam, who's entertaining some handsome men in his house. That is the story that you need to know. Now, what did he do with this handsome guy? And these handsome guys are completely quiet. Why are they quiet? Because they don't want whatever's going on to go outside of the house. Let's see what happens. Jafar As-Sadiq began his speech, and then we all came out. So Jafar As-Sadiq started talking nonsense like a donkey. He had nothing really important to say once his friend got there. Because, you know, whatever they were doing, he had to hide it. You know, if when you're doing something and you don't want people to know, and then you're caught in the act, you try to, you know, make it look like there's nothing to see here. And then, no, don't worry. And you want to change the subject and everything else. That's what Jafar As-Sadiq was doing. He was like, he didn't know that his friend was coming. Surprise, I caught you in the act. So all of a sudden, there's nothing to see here. I'm going to change the subject. And he started talking about nonsense. These people were not there for that nonsense. So they said, well, whatever we were doing is finished. We all leave. That's what happened. So they all left. Let's see what's going on. The 15 persons of different languages. At first, we didn't know how many people there were. Now we know there's 15 of them, okay? And they're all different languages, which means they're all from different nations. Could understand what the Imam had said. Wow, they all understood. Interesting. Among them were, ladies and gentlemen, people of all ages, count with me, okay? Count with me. We're going to see how many nations were present, okay? Remember, there's 15 nations here. They were Arabs, Persians, Nabateans, Abyssinians, Sicilians. How many did you guys count? I counted 5. Okay, we're 10 short here somewhere. The Arab said, he, i.e. the Imam, Jafar As-Sadiq, talked with us in Arabic. The Persian said, talked with us in Farsi, right? The Abyssinian said, he spoke to us in Abyssinian. The Sicilian said, he talked to us in Sicilian. Hold on a second. I thought he first said Jafar spoke and they all could understand. Now he changed it from Jafar spoke to Jafar became a translator for himself. He looked at the first guy and said, Mister, let me shake your hand. Now, let me speak to you in your own language of Nabatees. And now it's your turn let me speak to you. So he spoke individually with everybody. At first, they gave an impression that Jafar As-Sadiq can do what Jesus does. If you remember, when Jesus went to the church, the temple, and he saw that the rabbis had turned it into a bazaar, he flipped the table and he spoke in Aramaic. And he said, "You've turned the house of my father into a bazaar." And everybody who was there, because you had Persians who were Jewish, you had Byzantines who were Jewish, you had people from Assyria who were Jewish, you had Israelis who were Jewish, you had Nabateans who were Jewish, you had people from everywhere who were Jewish, but they spoke their own languages. And they were all standing, and they all heard the Aramaic that was coming out of Jesus' mouth, and they all understood it in their own languages. So Jesus spoke once, and everybody got it. Here, we see Jafar As-Sadiq turning into his own translator and has to speak individually with each person in their own languages. And we don't know who these 15 people are because he only named 5. And these 5 are very important. Let's see who these 5 are. For you guys in English language, you missed out on that lecture that I gave 3 years ago that would clarify a lot of things. 3 years ago, I said that the people that were helping this so-called prophet, whose real name is Qatam. Qatam in Arabic literally means human feces. Okay? Just like in English, when we say horse manure, cow manure, we are literally talking about a certain animal and the feces that it comes from that animal. In Arabic, they can do the exact same thing. Don't be shocked. And Ghatham is a word that means human feces. This guy's name was Ghatham until he changed it himself to Muhammad, which means the praised one. And if he's praised one, then Allah must be praised too behind him. Because he's the one you praise. You praise your Lord. And therefore, Muhammad is your Lord. Because that's what the name means. You praise him. He takes the position of your God. Your God is secondary behind him. But most Muslims don't know what these names mean. So they're just doing motions. They're not acknowledging what they're doing because they don't have the ability of understanding it because it wasn't taught to them. Now we are teaching it. So I hope they take advantage of it and wake up from the disaster that they find themselves in, especially the Shia, because right now we're talking about Shia. Now what happened? Nabateans lived in Jordan at that time. Okay, the country today known as Jordan, that's where Nabateans lived. They didn't live in Saudi Arabia. So the Nabateans are not from Saudi Arabia. Jafar As-Sadiq is a Nabatean. He's from Jordan, not Saudi Arabia. The history you've been taught is wrong. It's fake. It's made up. Who else did he name here? The Sicilian. Sicilians are supposed to be the Roman Empire. Okay? This guy doesn't know, so he picked one out of the Roman Empire. Roman Empire was huge. France, Spain, Portugal, they were all part of it. It wasn't just Italy. A lot of people think Roman Empire is just Italy. No, it's big. It's huge. It had 2 parts. The Byzantine was one part of it, and the Roman Empire was the other part of it. It was big. It was huge. What is their involvement with the Iranians? They were in a 300-year war with the Iranian Sasanian Empire. Who else did he name? The Abyssinians. They're from a region in Africa where they were the superpower of their time, from the continent of Africa. Okay? Nobody tells you that. You only hear about Iran and the Byzantine/Rome. They don't tell you there were other big names too. They weren't as big as these two, but they were there. Much like today we have, in modern time, we have United States, we have Russia, but we also have England, France, Germany, big shots, who on their own have to be very highly respected for what they can do. China, they're all big shots. They're not as big as United States, but they are big shots on their own. That time, similarly, Abyssinia was a big shot for itself. It wasn't as big as the Romans or the Persians. It didn't have their capabilities, but still, amongst its own region, it was a big shot. It was a powerful country. It had a lot of say. They could get a lot of things done. The problem that the Abyssinians had is, for their trades, they had two options. If they wanted to do trade with Rome and other places, they had to either go by land or by water. Water is faster. You can move more product. On land, you have to use camels and whatnot, but you can use many boats at one time to go through water. Camels, you might get attacked in the way. You have to defend. You have to go through war. In the water at that time, you were safer. If you go by land, you have to pay a duty tax to, at that time, Egypt, then to Israel, and then to Byzantine, and then from Byzantine into Rome. So you had three duties that you had to pay. If you went by water, the Red Sea at that time was under the control of the Iranians, the Sasanian Empire. All you had to do is pay them one tax. It was cheaper for them money-wise. But the Abyssinians wanted to take control of that. They didn't want to pay this tax. So they had a plan to weaken the Sasanian Empire. That's how they came in contact with Muhammad. Sicilians were in a war. They were not our friends at that time. Who else did he name? The Arabs. Who are the Arabs? The Arabs are the people of the Lakhmite and others who Muhammad was eventually able to take over town and city by town and city that he waged war on, that was in the Arabic Peninsula, and he weakened the Iranian army in that area by taking over these cities so that we don't get to our city-states like the country of modern-day Yemen, which was one of the city-states of Iran at that time. They were able to take these out to help the Abyssinians. So that's where they came in. Who were the Persians? The Persians that were dealing with this Jafar As-Sadiq and his forefathers were the tribe of the Parthians. The Parthians used to be in power before the Sassanid Empire. When the Sassanid Empire came in, the Parthian changed from being kings and queens to being noble men of the society. But they wanted to take Iran back. They wanted a new kingdom with a Parthian king instead of a Sassanian king. Therefore, they were in cahoots to weaken Iran from the inside. So all of these people are sitting there and are working together. And then they were creating this so-called religion called Islam. Everybody had a hand in it. And everybody was trying to push their agenda, their ideology, and use the name of the so-called God named Allah in order to make up a religion that backs their own agenda. This is why they're sitting with Jafar. Why? Because during Jafar's time, we have a civil war. The Bani Umayyad, who are in charge, are fighting multiple fronts, and eventually they get defeated by Bani Abbas. Remember we were talking about they were coming up to Jafar telling him to fight, and he didn't want to fight. He was too chicken because he was getting money. back to that. So now you have a background idea of what was going on and why these people are sitting there. But these clergymen don't tell you this background that I just gave you. They like to hide all of that. Nothing to see here. Move along, nothing to see here. He's just having a random conversation with people that came from far away places, like as if they're just gonna sit down for a cup of coffee. Okay? They all came thousands of miles to see this guy so they can have a cup of coffee and he can teach them about how if you collect money for the poor and save that money for the poor, God is going to punish you. That's what they came to hear. Does that make any sense to you? Or is it the background story that I gave you that's more logical, that these people came because there is something that they want to gain out of this? Okay, so let's see what was going on. Okay. Imam Al-Sadiq owned incredible intelligence and creativity. He owned it, ladies and gentlemen. Owned, okay? Like I own this cup. I own it. You see? It has my picture on it. It's mine. I own a cup. Okay? Jafar As-Sadiq owned incredible intelligence and incredible creativity. Okay? But it gets better. When he was a child, okay, and then became youth, remember that he was a child and then he became a youth. Okay, I know for you guys that sounds strange because I think the rest of the world, they were youth and then they turned child. Only for him, he was child and turned youth. You know, it's a very amazing story. Wow, I mean, like, man, nobody else can do that. I mean, how many people you know who were children and then they turned youth? It's amazing, isn't it? And then old. Wow, he became old as well. Wow, this is amazing, you know? Oh, man. Wow, what a story. Aren't you amazed? I mean, didn't it blow your mind? He was a child, then he turned youth, then he turned old. But what did he do? He excelled all genius individuals of the world. I mean, they held an Olympics of the time for all the geniuses. They gathered all the geniuses from all over the world. You know, they sent invitations. You know, like when you saw those movies in the 80s, like Bloodsport, and then you had all these guys, martial artists from all over the world. They came down to fight Van Damme, and then they all came, and like the African guy, he knew the style of the monkey, and then Van Damme knew the style, one of the styles of the karate from Japan, and then everybody came down, and you know, you had that boxer guy from America who, you know, ended up in a hospital. And you had all these different martial art guys from all over the place. Remember, there was a sumo guy, and they all came down. Remember that? And it was by invitation only. There was an invitation like this 1,400 years ago. And they brought all the intelligent geniuses from around the world. Okay, they all came down. They all came down where? To Medina, of all places. Okay. Why? Because they were going to compete with this monkey named Jafar As-Sadiq. Let's see what happened. He excelled all genius individuals of the world in his characteristics. Again, all the geniuses, he excelled them in characteristics. I mean, the two don't go together. What does characteristics have to do with you being a genius? A genius can tell the truth. A genius can lie. A genius can have, you know, he can be shy when he talks to women, or maybe he can pick up every woman in the world. A genius could learn how to drive a car. Maybe he doesn't know how to drive a car. A genius could ride a horse. Maybe he doesn't know how to ride a horse. I mean, there are all kinds of stuff. Characteristics is just who you are. Has nothing to do with how smart you are. You know, somebody's characteristics might be that they want to help everybody. But because they want to help everybody, it doesn't mean they can't be smart or they will be stupid. That has nothing to do with it. You're smart because you've learned knowledge. You're able to go and seek knowledge, find it. Therefore, you're a genius. You know stuff that normal people don't know because you went and learned. Well, another person didn't learn that. Learning comes faster to you because you seek it. It's fun for you. Another person, it might not be fun for them. Has nothing to do with their characteristics. You can have somebody who doesn't have a lot of knowledge and will lie, cheat, steal, commit crimes. You can also have someone who's a genius and will commit crimes, lie, cheat, steal, rape, do all of that too. You being a genius has nothing to do with your characteristics. So exactly what did he beat all these geniuses in? Where's his characteristics? You want to know Jafar As-Sadiq's characteristics? Stripper, rapist, child molester, liar. You think I'm lying? Let's go forward a little bit. Let's see. According to the same Mulana who we took his book, I have his book over here as well, by the way. But this is online. You can all find it. That's why I put it here, because it's easy for everybody to find it. Okay. According to what is written in that book, a big book that's about this thick. Okay. Here's a letter. What is this letter about? His letter about spoil of war and the fifth. Now, let me give you a background, because a lot of you will say, what is fifth? What do you mean by fifth? The Prophet of Islam has 13 privileges that are only for the Prophet of Islam. Privileges. One of those privileges is, in every battle that the Muslims go to, the Prophet of Islam gets 1/5 of all the booty that they take possession of. 1/5. By booty, we're not just talking about physical stuff like gold and silver and homes. No, human beings are added into that. So slaves are added into that, okay? How did he get it? Well, let's give you an example of what we're talking about. Let's make a good example. Let's say you have an army of 100,000 people, and you go and you attack a village, and you demolish the people, you kill them. You know, you came in unannounced, and you just killed everybody. All the men are dead. Now the women and everybody, all the little kids, they're all part of the booty, with all the gold and everything else. Well, let's put all of them aside and just count the gold. Let's say you came in contact with 100,000 pieces of gold. Well, the first thing you have to do is distribute this among the people, your soldiers. But wait a minute, before you distribute, 1/5 of all of that is going to the Prophet of Islam. Now, whatever is left, that portion gets distributed amongst everybody. So if you had 100,000 people, now you all of a sudden had 80,000 pieces of gold, which means every single person walks away with less than one piece of gold. But Muhammad walked away with 20,000 pieces of gold. And the kicker is, he's not even in the war. He's sitting out there watching you fight so that you can die while he gets rich. And then they tell you the Prophet was very poor. No, he was not poor. He was super rich. On top of that, add all the little girls that now you've won as a spoil of booty. 1/5 of all of them go to the Prophet too. Their mothers too. Their little baby boys who don't have hair, pubic hair yet, they're part of the booty. They become part of the servant slaves of the house. 1/5 of all of them will go to the Prophet too. Slavery is very big in Islam. Quite the contrary, where they tell you, no, all people of all colors are equal. No. That's not the truth. You haven't been told the truth. But we're sharing the truth with you here. So what happened? His friends, remember before in previous parts, we were talking about people going to war against the Umayyads, and they were trying to get him to come. Even his own family members were trying to get him to come, and he didn't want to fight because he was getting money. And he wanted to sit at home because he was getting money. Well, they sent him a letter. They said to him, we follow you. You're our Imam. You're God, Allah's representative on earth. I mean, you talk for God. This Allah of the Muslims, who's not really God of the rest of the world. Jafar As-Sadiq is the mouthpiece for this God. So now his followers are writing to him, saying, you didn't want to come to war. You're sitting on your behind, but we went to war for you. So now we need to know it's time to distribute the wealth. We've attacked cities that were under the governance of the Umayyads. We've temporarily taken them over. Now we need to know what to do. We have to disperse what we've taken, right? We've killed innocent people, and now we want to distribute what we took from these innocent people. We stole from them. So here, Jafar As-Sadiq, who sat on his behind and didn't want to go to war, all of a sudden, there is wealth involved. So now, he's going to talk about what he's entitled to. There is where it comes as spoils of war on the 1/5. So now he's going to explain to you. One of the followers of the Imam sent a letter, which I just told you guys, right? The 1/5, and I explained some of the reasons that prevents the close relatives of the Prophet. What it is there's a dispute. The dispute is, some people said that 1/5 was a privilege for Muhammad, the Prophet of Allah, but his family members were not named as the people that can get that privilege. Another group said, no. What you forgot is whatever is for the Prophet is also for his Imams, because they are the continuation of the teaching of this religion. Just that with the end of prophethood, we can't get a new religion, but the current religion, it could be added to, it could be explained, it could be taught by the Imams. Therefore, they're entitled to whatever the Prophet had. It continues for them in their life. So now they needed the Imam to give a ruling which side is right. Now you know. So Imam is going to explain. This Jafar As-Sadiq is going to explain how he's entitled to the money of those people whose fathers were killed, and now their little daughters, 8 and 9-year-old, have to become sexual slaves of Jafar As-Sadiq. And now he's going to explain to you why he's entitled to that according to Allah. So he starts, right? He talks about from some of the monetary shares, in brackets, they try to make the Imam look good, okay? They put in here sadaqah or alms. Sadaqah is what you give to the poor, right? So, for example, you have a co-worker, but your co-worker doesn't have a home. Like his home got burnt in a fire. And he doesn't earn a lot of money. So he's not going to be able to afford to take his family to a Hilton hotel and keep him there for a night. So what you do is you take some money out of your own pocket, you call him up, you say, hey man, I'm going to give you this, add it to what you got, get yourself a room at the hotel for tonight. That was you giving charity, right? To the poor. Your co-worker who was poor. Has nothing to do with spoils of war. They lie to you again. This is a lie. Okay? Alms is the same as the sadaqah. So that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about spoils of war, not giving charity. So this charity business, this bracket, throw it in the garbage. Monetary shares, Imam explains and answers him with a relevant, complete, and comprehensive reply, and supported that reply with strong and decisive reasons. Here's the answer that the Imam gave after praising Allah. Remember, I told you it's according to Allah, according to Allah, he's entitled. And now we're going to see what he's entitled to. Okay? I understand what you wanted to know about what might provide the satisfaction of Allah. You see? We are looking for the satisfaction of Allah. At the end of the day, it's what makes Allah happy. Jafar As-Sadiq is very caring. He's a very pious guy. He's going to show you how pious he is and who his God is. This Allah is going to show himself to you. Oh, my goodness. Aren't you guys excited? You're finally going to meet Allah. Let's see who this Allah is, what he likes. We all want to know, no? Okay, let's see. Let's see what he's going to tell us. Okay, the Almighty. He's not very almighty, because Almighty is God that can do anything. But in Islam, the God of Islam can't have a son. No, it's not possible. He cannot create for himself a son. He needs a lahu, according to the Quran. He needs a girl for fun, just to have fun, like a one-night stand. He needs a one-night stand. Come on. After all, you need two to create one. Okay, he needs a one-night stand to do some boom boom, and then after about so many years, baby will pop out of the oven. Yeah, you guys know, the thing, right? Like Biden says, the thing. Come on now. You don't need me to tell you about the thing, right? You already know the thing. Come on. All right. So to prevent the monetary shares for the close relatives of the Prophet, in addition to the rest of the queries, okay, monetary share for the close relatives of the Prophet. So he's sneaking himself in, you see. He's the close relative. You can't say he's not. You can't deny it, because he is. And now he's going to show you how that Allah, that Allah wants this, not him. No, don't get it wrong. It's not him. I mean, if you asked him, he would put his hands behind his back like this and say, no. But we have a problem here. We got to get the love of Allah. Allah has to tell us, come on now. Give him a slack here. Come on. So, in addition, what is he going to say? So listen to your heart. Listen to your heart. Like the song, this clergyman, he's ripping off a song. Listen to your heart. Okay, well, we're going to listen to the heart. Hello, heart. What did you say? Oh, you said I'm closer to the Prophet? Unbelievable. I listen to the heart, you see. Anyway, let's go on with this joke business of these clergymen and see what they're talking about. Listen to your heart, by the way. Are you listening to your heart while you watch this? Because he told you, listen to your heart. Okay. Apparently, they're trying to steal the Holy Ghost here. Okay. All right, let's see. Then try to be just. After you listen to your heart, you got to be just. You better do what your heart told you, because that's the only way you're going to be just. Come on now. This will be safer for you later when you are in front of Allah. Oh, you see what happened? He caught you. Better do what Allah wants. Because if you listen to your heart and your heart says, don't give him the money, tomorrow when you die, you're going to be in front of God. This Allah is going to tell you, why didn't you give him the money? Did you not listen to your heart? You should have listened to your heart. Your heart, even though told you not to give him the money, it really meant give him the money. But you didn't listen to your heart. It's your problem. You see, the guilt comes on you. It wasn't him. Tomorrow you can't grab Jafar As-Sadiq and say, well, I gave you the little girls because you wanted it. No, he's going to tell you, I didn't tell you that. Your heart told you that. Your heart told you that because Allah told you that. You see, it all goes back to Allah. Allah told you that in your heart, and then you just acted on it. And if you didn't act on it, you're going to be punished for it because that's what Allah told you. You just didn't listen to your heart, and you were unjust. You see, there's the problem. He solved it. Don't you like how he solved it? I mean, that's the best idea, isn't it? I mean, this guy, man, he's a genius. Like, he's the genius of all geniuses when it comes to stealing, theft, taking advantage of others, claiming a right to what you unjustly took from someone else. You went ahead and you killed somebody's father, and you took that little girl, and now you're going to give it to him. Isn't this the greatest religion since sliced bread? I mean, fabulous. You guys haven't seen nothing yet. Okay, let's see what he does next. This will be safer for you when you stand in front of him. You know what Allah's command for you and what he rejects. You know that already. Come on, why you need him? I mean, he was supposed to teach you, but you already know. You don't need him. The only reason why you need Jafar As-Sadiq is so you can give to Jafar As-Sadiq. But you don't need Jafar As-Sadiq to teach you because you already know. Come on. Don't you know? You know. Listen to your heart. And then be just. Listen to your heart. Come on now. Listen to your heart. Like the song. Play the song after this program. Listen to your heart. If you don't know it, just put those words into YouTube. I mean, YouTube will just pop it up. Listen to your heart, okay? Put it in, listen to it, meditate over it, you know, drink some tea or coffee while you're listening to it. You know, get into the zone with it, be one with the song, and then listen to the heart, you know? Put your ear right beside it. Listen to the heart. I'm telling you, it's not me telling you, it's Jafar As-Sadiq telling you. I mean, what do you want to do? Ladies and gentlemen, we got 5 minutes left before this portion is over. I do want to urge you, if you like our programs, listen to your heart. Be just about it. Click on that subscribe button. And then click on the all. When you see that bell, click on all. And then listen to your heart. Be just about it. Go look at our link tree down there and then click on it. It'll take you to our site. Listen to your heart. Be just about it. Click on all the social media apps I'm on, especially Telegram, because there are things that I got to show you on Telegram that I cannot show it. It's censored in YouTube. I mean, I can't even say it. If I say it, they'll close the channel. Right away, they'll close. It won't even last a minute. I'll get all the strikes in one shot and it'll be closed. So if you really listen to your heart and be just about it, and you become a member in our group in Telegram, you will see stuff that will make your 2 eyes turn into 12 eyes. It's really great. I'm going to put it back on there in a couple of days so you have time to gather everybody. And as a community, all of you can listen to your heart. Be just about it. Don't forget, you got to listen to the heart first, okay? Don't be just and then listen to the heart. You got to listen to the heart and then be just, okay? Do it the right steps. Jafar As-Sadiq told us. Listen to your heart. Become a member. And then you will see what you cannot see on YouTube. So again, what were the steps? Listen to your heart. Be just about it. Subscribe. And then don't forget, press the like button on these programs. After the program's over, please don't forget, listen to your heart. Be just about it. Leave a comment so we can get the YouTube bots to share this program more. And again, listen to your heart. Please be just about it. Spread it out. You know, share it with everyone you know. Share it with your church members. Share it with your family members. Share it with your neighbors. Share it with your coworkers. Listen to your heart, like the song. Be just about it. If you don't, that Allah is going to pick you up on the day of judgment. He's going to tell you, why didn't you listen to your heart? Why weren't you just about it? You already know the command. You know the thing. Come on, man. You know the thing. You know the thing. Come on. You guys know the thing. So don't forget, listen to your heart. Now, commercial's over. We go back to the program because the program gets exciting, doesn't it? We only have 2 minutes left, by the way. So now I understood what you want to know about what might provide the satisfaction of Allah. Oh, wasn't that a big sentence? I mean, didn't that just blow your mind? Don't you have to put like ice on your head to calm down the heat of the knowledge that just came to you? I mean, you know everything about what Allah wants and will become satisfied by if you do it. So Allah is a needy God. You need to satisfy him. He has a need. His need is he needs to be satisfied. I thought an almighty God is a God that has no needs. The Muslims talk about a God with no needs. Now we found a God with a need. Wow, isn't that astonishing? He needs to be satisfied. How do you satisfy him? Give little girls that you killed their fathers to Jafar As-Sadiq. Give their wealth to Jafar As-Sadiq. Give their mothers Jafar As-Sadiq. Give their donkeys to Jafar As-Sadiq. Whatever they had after you killed them, give it to Jafar As-Sadiq. 1/5 of it. Not all of it. Only 1/5 of it. Okay? You got to give it to him because he needs it. All of you good viewers of this program, we will see you next week. And until then, I leave you in the hands of the true God, Jesus. And we'll